Channel 17 News. I'm Joao.
And I'm Brian. Did you hear about the sex trafficking issue in Cambodia?
Yes, I did, Brian. For our viewers wondering what and where Cambodia is, here's the answer.
Well, Cambodia is a country in Southeast Asia and is smaller than Oklahoma. It has a population of about 14,952,665. 20% live in cities, and meaning 80% live in rural areas. 90% of the population are Khmer, and the official language is Khmer. And 96.4% are Buddhist. The capital city is Phnom Penh, and they have a multi-party democracy, meaning that the ruler's power is limited. They gained independence on July 1st, 1867 from France. Also, 31% are below the poverty line, 3.5% are unemployed, and the Prime Minister of Cambodia is Hun Sen, and the King of Cambodia is Norodom Sihamoni.
Some things I found interesting were that 50% of the population are under 15 years old. 45% of the Cambodian kids finish elementary school, and Cambodian parents give their kids symbolic names that rhyme with the name of other family members.
Let's get back to the report.
So Cambodia faces a severe problem of sexual trafficking, which is a form of slavery where children and adults are enslaved to the commercial sex industry. It could be prostitution or being sold as a sex slave. Sexual trafficking makes easy money and is the third largest criminal business in the world. Mostly people that live in the rural areas are victims of sex slaves or people that have the need for money and drugs. People need money to support themselves and live, so some just want drugs. Other people want popular items. It became a business slave.
It is important for us to know about the sexual trafficking problem in Cambodia because innocent children are being sold and abused and they need help. We can help and we should help. It is not fair for them to be abused, and we are supposed to live in a world of peace.
An article we found interesting is about Brian McConaughey, who has dedicated his life to saving children in Cambodia from brothels or buildings where sex slaves are kept. Brian McConaughey visited Cambodia and heard of the tragedy of the young sex slaves. He later came back with medicine and helped a team of Ratanak International providing medicine to the sick kids. He created Ratanak International, which is a refugee camp or a safe place to keep sex slaves, with psychological help, foster care, and job training.
How did they keep the sex slaves from staying in the brothels and not running away?
Good question, Brian. They keep the sex slaves contained by giving them drugs. The slaves don't know they're given drugs because they're mixed in with the drinks and food. The drugs are used so the slaves don't know where they're going, or so he or she cooperates with the pimp. The slaves are messed up.
Let's go to Renzo on the story of Shripav Chan.
Hi everyone, this is Renzo, and I'm here with a story about Shripav Chan. So, sexual trafficking is a result of the poverty. Cambodia is a very poor country. For parents to make money, they need to sell their children as sex slaves because their job is not enough to support them. An example is Shripav. She was sold to a brothel by her mom. She was forced to have sex with as many as 20 men a day, and if she didn't finish her task, she was burned and covered with biting insects.
This is Savai Pak, Cambodia, once a place known for openly selling little girls to foreign predators looking for sex. Polly was one of those girls. I was about 5 or 6 years old, she says. Before she could read, she was working in a brothel. The first man said to me, "I want to have sex with you." At the time, I didn't know what to do. No one could help me, she says. Dozens of girls have had the same experience here. This 7-foot by 7-foot windowless room with just a bed in it was where little girls were forced to have sex. This was actually a part of a brothel that specialized in prepubescent girls.
The severe poverty began after the Vietnam War. The U.S. bombed Cambodia because the U.S. tried to take out the Viet Cong. The Viet Congs are a communist group fighting with the U.S. and the southern Vietnam. Cambodia was caught in between the war. The U.S. destroyed much of Cambodia and its land. About 1 million Cambodians died. The war started in 1954 and ended in 1975 because North Vietnam was supported by Viet Congs wanting to take over southern Vietnam and make it a communist country. Following the war, there was a famine in Khmer Rouge. The Khmer Rouge is a communist group who killed 5 million Cambodians from 1975 to 1979. The Khmer Rouge was led by the leader named Pol Pot, who wanted an agrarian society, a society who favored agriculture. He wanted Cambodia to be a classless society. He killed many intellectuals, doctors, and businessmen. The spread of the disease was increasing because there weren't any doctors to give aid and treatment, so many died. The death of many Cambodians during the Khmer Rouge genocide is the reason why the Cambodian population today is very young. Let's go to Justin to talk about how World War II affected Cambodia.
This is Justin reporting about how pre-World War II and post-World War II affected Cambodia. In 1884, Cambodia was a protectorate of France. France was in control of 75 years. France put Vietnam in charge of Cambodia, and Cambodia was angry about it because Vietnam is their enemy. In 1941, the French put a young prince in charge, Norodom Sihanouk. He lost control and order in Cambodia. Also, there was an invasion by the Japanese, occupying all French Indochina with Cambodia. They left Sihanouk in charge and allowed Vichy France representatives to supervise Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. The Japanese reinforced anti-colonialist feeling by making the people pro-Japanese and anti-French. In 1945, the Japanese ordered Indochina to declare independence from France. Cambodia was struggling to find a government that helped them best. After World War II, the French and Allied forces came back to take back their colonies. Sihanouk put Son Than as prime minister. Son Than wanted independence, so he joined the Khmer Sarai guerrillas, who fought for the end of Cambodia's monarchy. Cambodia and the Cold War. North Vietnam wanted to turn South Vietnam into a communist country. The Army of the Republic of Vietnam versus the North Vietnam Army. Cambodia was a neutral country, and because of their weak military, North Vietnam thought they could hide in Cambodia's forests. The U.S. wanted to stop the spread of communism, so they joined the forces of South Vietnam. Since North Vietnam was in Cambodia in hiding, the U.S. had to bomb Cambodia to get rid of the North Vietnamese. Millions of Cambodians died. Many peasants died. There are a lot of things going wrong in Cambodia. The Khmer Rouge and bombings. Now Cambodia is in severe poverty, resulting to prostitution or selling children as sex slaves. Let's go back to Renzo and Brian for the best solution to help the victims of sexual slavery in Cambodia.
Welcome back to Channel 17 News, and this is Brian.
This is Renzo.
And we are here to talk about the best solution to stop sexual trafficking or reduce sexual trafficking. So we thought that the best action to help the victims of sexual slavery in Cambodia is to ask UNICEF or the United Nations to help reduce sexual trafficking. The United Nations members can learn how to detect traffickers and have them arrested. The Cambodian government can create more jobs because sexual trafficking is a result of poverty. Or they can offer higher pay so adults do not need to go to that extreme of an extent. The United Nations can educate the people so they are not tricked into it. Many children or adults are tricked into the business because they just want a job and are confused or are tricked into it. As a community, we can
educate others in how to make them care and show them how they can help. We can educate others on how to detect a trafficker and report them. Many children and young adults are tricked into sex slavery and are abused. There are many ways you can help. One is donating to the Ratanak International and raising awareness. Another, we can get the Cambodian police to arrest and detect the traffickers. The Cambodian government can make the anti-trafficking laws. The Cambodian government needs to be more strict and make a greater effort if they want sex trafficking in Cambodia to end or be reduced. That's it, everyone.
Thank you for watching, and have a great weekend and a great summer.
Bye.
Bye.
You can visit Ratanak International or ratanak.org and learn how to get involved in a sexual trafficking prevention organization or donate to the victims of sexual trafficking.
You didn't say your name.
Alright.
This
Hello, everyone.
Shoot. Welcome back to Channel. Shut up. What the hell? You both. Why did you do that?
It was caught in between the war. They were. The severe poverty began after the
Lorenzo O'Brien for the best solution to help victims of sexual slavery in Cambodia. Hey, right here.
Let's go. Let's go.
Alright, do that again.